we had a snowball fight. It got very cold in my classroom. Some would say freezing temperatures, and it began to snow. And then we had a snowball fight, and I'll tell you all about it later, okay? Hi guys, welcome back to the Caffeinated Classroom, and good morning. It is Tuesday morning, and I'm on my way to work. I left my house like 10 minutes later than I wanted to, and here's the thing, like, fun fact about me, I am not late. Like, I'm punctual to a fault. Like, I'm that awkwardly on-time person to parties where everybody comes like 15, 20 minutes, an hour late, and I'm there when the party starts. Why? Because when you say a party starts, and that's when I go. Otherwise, I get really nervous. So I'm not like late for work, I'm just later than I wanna be, and it means that I'm gonna have a few students who get dropped off at school really, really early, like waiting for first period, hanging out in front of the classroom, which is not bad. It's fine. They come in, they're pretty quiet, they just wanna read, which is like, you know, my favorite student ever, but I do not get to have alone time in the morning. Answer the question that many of you have asked. You know, I've not had a sip of coffee yet. It's sitting next to me. I will have it when I get in because it's too hot right now. I just talk this fast. And no, I do not always deliver instruction at my normal conversational pace. I am actually a seasoned good teacher. I know what I'm doing. Anyways, I am going to do a little teach with me this morning. We'll see how the setup goes. I have my tripod with me. I am teaching this morning to my sophomores because we are starting Lord of the Flies, as you saw in yesterday's vlog. Today they're close reading passages, 2 passages from chapter 2 and 1 from chapter 3, and we're gonna do some fun stuff with the close reading and how we're doing that. But to get us started, I'm going to do a close reading quick mini lesson, just kind of like think aloud, watch me annotate up on the board. I might do it over the doc cam, I might just do it up on the board, but show them how to color code and like what sorts of things to look for as far as annotations go, because we're annotating a few different literary devices, just specifically looking at 2 different themes. So, I'll see you guys. Piggy was surrounded before he could back away. Yes, that shows us character. It shows us a few things about different characters, but what does that show us specifically about our themes? Does that show us the theme of a loss of innocence, or maybe coming of age? Does that show us peace and violence? What does that show us about our themes through these characters? Yes? Violence. Violence, okay. How does that show us violence?
By like not really asking people and just taking what you want.
Okay, they didn't ask. I'm burning violence. They didn't ask, just took specs. Okay. What other sorts of character things can we find? I'm just trying to kind of like think through for you. Like this is how I approach a text. If I'm looking specifically for a theme of coming of age, loss of innocence, and human nature, violence versus peace, and I'm looking for signs that the characters show me about those, what other sorts of things do you think you could find in here? I'll find one more, and then I want you guys to find one for me. So I just ran into a little workroom that we have over on this side of campus really fast. It is break right now. I'm making some copies that I all of a sudden, I don't know why. It's not like this is a new part of my like teaching personality. I just will always like plan, and then think that I have things done. Like I think that I've made the copies because I've been thinking about this lesson for so long. Oh my gosh, it's about to get real loud. And I haven't made the copies. I'm doing it right now because I'm a doof. These copies are for my freshmen who are about to be doing some peer reviews of some short stories that they wrote. They are going to read them to partners, and as they hear the story, the partner is taking notes on different elements that they're hearing, and we're gonna do a little bit of rehearsing because they're gonna actually perform these stories using Flipgrid and upload videos, but I'll tell you about that tomorrow because that's when we're gonna actually do that. But my lesson that I did just now was really cool. It went a little bit longer, so we're gonna have to finish some things up. A fun little like collaborative annotation activity that I kind of adapted from a few different teachers that I follow and like blogs that I look at and different activities that I used to do. And basically what we did is we had a snowball fight. It got very cold in my classroom. Some would say freezing temperatures, and it began to snow. And then we had a snowball fight, and I'll tell you all about it later. Okay, I gotta run. Hi guys, so it is now my prep period, and I was just chit-chatting with one of my friends about what she does for our of mice and men unit. Sorry, it's been a long day. I feel like since I talked to you in the copy room, it has been at least 9 hours. That was like 3 hours ago. anyways, I will be starting that unit with my freshmen on this coming Friday. And so we're just kind of chit-chatting out. Like she just charted out her plan like in her calendar book. So I just wanted to see what she does. Because I haven't taught of mice and men in probably like 7 years. So it's been a minute. And when I taught of mice and men before, it was on a traditional semester schedule. And now my school is on a 4x4, a quarter system. So rather than having 50-minute periods, I now have 90-minute periods. And anyways, so I'm going to have to adjust some of the things that I do. And she's got a good reading schedule. And so we were just kind of comparing notes. The lesson that you saw earlier was, I gotta switch hands, sorry. The lesson that you saw earlier was about annotating and close reading. So we were close reading 2 separate passages from chapter 2 of Lord of the Flies today. And we are looking specifically at 2 different themes. We are looking at like a loss of innocence, coming of age theme, and then human nature, whether we are innately peaceful or violent beings. What is human nature? While they're reading, I kind of like to simplify it quite a bit because even as sophomores, real true, like legitimate annotation is a little bit difficult. So we're only looking specifically for character, setting, and symbols. So I can kind of show you. You probably saw these earlier when I was teaching, but this is an anchor chart I've started for just to like color code their character, setting, and symbols. And they're specifically looking for those literary devices having clues or having key moments where it's showing that it's coming of age and a loss of innocence happening, and that it's like a key into the inside of human nature, violence, or peace. So after I annotated that first passage with my students, I gave them a second passage from that chapter. So the first passage, if you know Lord of the Flies, the first passage was about when the boys build the fire for the first time and they have trouble figuring out how to start the fire, and then the fire goes out and it doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. The end of the chapter, they build a second fire, and this fire is so huge and it completely takes over and it ravages part of the island and it gets completely out of hand. And they realize at the end of the chapter that one of the little boys who used to be with their little group has gone missing. And it becomes very clear that this fire that they have started killed the little boy, that he perished in the fire. And so we actually had some really good conversations about all of that. And what I had them do is what I called a snowball fight. Each student got their own copy of the passage, number 2, and they had to I gave them like a few minutes to read it and then make 4 annotations of character like moments having to do with our 2 themes. Then they had to write their name at the top, crumple it up, and I said, on 3, snowball fight. And they just had to throw and throw and throw. And this went on for like a couple of minutes. Pick up, throw, pick up, throw. Okay, find your nearest snowball, go back to your seat, open it back up. And then we were looking for setting. So then they're gonna do green. And we only got through 2 rounds of annotations, and they're going to crumple them up and throw them again tomorrow morning when we first get here, find a new one and do symbol. And it's just kind of like a new approach. It's a more collaborative approach to annotating, something new that I'm trying, and I'm just gonna try and like, basically, I just want them to practice finding good annotations and like thinking through that whole entire process. And this way they can get an insight into what other people are writing without it seeming like intimidating, without feeling like they have to share. I mean, they had to throw their snowball, so now they have to go find somebody else's snowball, and in that process they're seeing the work of their peers and they're able to like share insight and see other people's thoughts without it being overly difficult. So I think it's working. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know more about that in tomorrow's vlog, but now I'm going to be making my lit theme tracer, which I'll explain more tomorrow because that is when my students are going to get a good introduction to it. But basically I'm making a huge timeline on a piece of butcher paper. One timeline is going to be for Lord of the Flies, and then I'm going to have 3 timelines below it for our 3 lit circle books that we're reading along with this novel. And they're going to be marking the timelines in different ways having to do with the way we're annotating. So I need to get crafty. Here we go. Okay, so I have created my little chart, which I will show you right now. Here we go. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 timelines, and they go all the way across. And so this first one, because it's like our anchor, it is our common one, Lord of the Flies here, has 13 spaces, one for each of the 13 chapters, versus these other 3 lit circle books. My students are going to be having 6 meetings. So what they're going to do is they're going to get from me, because I have read all 3 books recently. I have broken up each of the books into like 6 chunks to pace their reading. At each chunk, they're going to have a separate reading quiz. Yes, I'm coming up with 3 sets of quizzes, but you know what? I like the way this is going, so I'm creating the work for myself that I will hopefully be using for years. And their tracer, their timeline is broken up into the 6 different meetings. And this is gonna go up here on the board. After I'm done here, I'm actually gonna skip out just like 2 minutes before the bell rings so that I can miss a little bit of the traffic. And before all that, I have more work to do, but I have to take my daughter back to the doctor. If you saw my vlog from a couple of days ago from this last weekend, she and I went to urgent care together because she had this rash in her armpit and I have a stress rash on my hand. Well, it was diagnosed as ringworm, which like still begs the question, how did my 2.5-year-old get ringworm in her armpit in winter? It's not like she's wearing a tank top and going on monkey bars or something. But that aside, the jock itch cream, like the antifungal cream that I had to put on it, is like making her now break out on a rash that goes all the way down her poor side. So sweet girl is having a hard go of it. So we're going back to the doctor. We're going to the pediatrician this time. And I have to go and get her like right at the end of school. So I have to get out of here before traffic. But I have grades to do because progress notice grades are due today. And I have things that I need to do. So I'm gonna put this up on the board and get it ready so at least everything's set up for tomorrow morning, so that if I don't finish my grades right before I leave, I can finish them tonight from home, and I'll be ready to go for first period tomorrow. So yeah, it's busy. It's a busy day. Okay, so the good news is that I got my grading done and I'm ready for my grades to go in for progress notices. Bad news, that's just about all I got done. However, I want to show you what this lit tracer looks like up here on the wall. I was going to put it up on that board, and as I started doing it, I don't know, I just started to see that the functionality of my whiteboard was going to be gone for the next month while we do this unit. So instead, I took the 2 tables that are over here and I spread them farther apart and I put it up here, and this way I can display my anchor charts for the themes, and we'll add more to that, and for what we're looking for with annotations, and we'll add more to that. So tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday they need to have their literature circle books in class so we can start reading, and pretty much all of Thursday is just gonna be spent reading, because Friday is gonna be their first book club meeting, and I'll show you all of the cool activities and things that I have planned for that. But it'll be a lot of collaborative annotating and discussion and pulling theme out of character, setting, and symbol, and then marking it on our timeline with these handy little squares. So I have to run and go get Eloise and take her to the doctor now. I have some work to do tonight. I have a lot of planning to do. I'm definitely in a create phase right now. And implementing obviously as I go. But then the cool thing about teaching on a quarter system is I'll teach this again almost immediately in the fall, because I teach the same course twice a year, the way that it like works out with our 2 terms. So it's really good for like reflective practice. It's just kind of exhausting because I'm like constantly creating right now because I've never taught on this system before. And if you've seen some of my earlier vlogs, you know that I just basically took everything that I do and I threw it all out the window, and I'm letting the cream rise to the top and just totally revamping the way that I teach. And I am loving it, but I am stupid tired. I'm gonna go get my baby now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Click the little bell so you don't miss any other videos. I'm starting to do daily vlogs, so you'll see a lot more like this.